The world watches in shock as an empire crumbles. We see the headlines, the raids, the lawsuits, and the sudden fall of a man who called himself a king. Sean Diddy Combs was not just a music mogul, he was a cultural architect who sold the world a specific fantasy of power, excess, and untouchability. But for those of us who study the dark psychology of narcissism, this is not a shock. It is an inevitability. We are not watching a tragedy, we are watching the predictable end cycle of a malignant narcissist who finally ran out of supply. You are clicking on this video because you sense something deeper than just celebrity gossip. You look at his eyes in the interviews, you watch the stiff body language in his apologies, and your gut screams danger. That is your survival instinct talking. Today, we are going to bypass the legal noise and perform a forensic psychological autopsy on the behavior of a man who allegedly used power not to create, but to control. We are exposing the anatomy of a predator. The concept of malignant narcissism is the most dangerous form of the disorder. It combines the classic narcissist's need for adulation with the antisocial traits of paranoia, aggression, and a complete lack of remorse. When you look at the trajectory of Diddy's career, you don't just see ambition, you see a pathological need to dominate every person in the room. He didn't just want to be the best, he wanted to own the people around him. This is not leadership. This is ownership. Think about the parties. The white parties. The glamour. To the public, it looked like the pinnacle of success. But through the lens of psychology, we see a grandiosity trap. Narcissists create environments where they are the sun, and everyone else is a planet orbiting them. By controlling the guest list, the dress code, and the atmosphere, he was not throwing a party, he was constructing a stage where he was the only director. It was a mechanism to enforce compliance and manufacture adoration on a mass scale. But what happens when the lights go out? The recent allegations describe a reality that is terrifyingly different from the public image. They describe rage, coercion, and silence. This dichotomy, the benevolent public figure versus the private tyrant, is the hallmark of the narcissist. They are capable of immense charm, which is why they are so dangerous. They lure you in with the dream, only to trap you in their nightmare. Survivors of narcissistic abuse often say, "Nobody would believe me because he is so charming to everyone else." This is the halo effect that Diddy utilized for decades. His wealth and status acted as a shield, deflecting scrutiny. But the mask is slipping. And when a narcissist's mask slips, we don't see a sad human being underneath, we see the void. We see the calculation. We see the cold indifference to human suffering. The apology video that circulated recently is perhaps the most critical piece of evidence we have. It was meant to garner sympathy, to show a man taking accountability. But if you know what to look for, it was a masterclass in manipulation. It wasn't an apology to the victims, it was a PR move to save the brand. In this video, we will dissect that footage frame by frame to show you exactly where the deception lives. Why does this matter to you? Because the tactics used by billionaires are the exact same tactics used by the narcissist in your life. The scale is different, but the psychology is identical. Whether it's a music mogul or your ex-partner, the need to control the narrative, the use of flying monkeys to silence dissent, and the aggressive retaliation against truth-tellers is the universal language of the toxic mind. We are seeing the collapse phase in real time. For a narcissist, public humiliation is a fate worse than death. They spend their entire lives building a false self to hide their deep-seated shame. Watching this false self get dismantled by the public is causing a psychological injury so severe that it usually leads to dangerous, erratic behavior. The predator is cornered. Prepare yourself. We are about to look into the eyes of what many psychologists would call a Dark Triad personality. This is not just about Diddy. This is a lesson in spotting the monsters who hide in plain sight, wearing expensive suits and billion-dollar smiles. Let's decode the darkness. Let's analyze the apology. When a healthy person apologizes, their focus is on the victim's pain. When a narcissist apologizes, the focus remains on their journey. Listen to the language. I hit rock bottom. I have to ask God for His mercy. Notice the pattern? I. It is a monologue about his own spiritual struggle, subtly centering himself as the protagonist of a redemption arc, rather than the perpetrator of violence. The victim is a footnote in his story of growth. Watch the eyes. In psychology, we look for congruence, where the facial expression matches the emotion. In the video, his face is somber, but the eyes are alert, scanning, calculating. There is a lack of genuine micro-expressions of sorrow. Sorrow softens the face, it weighs down the corners of the eyes. Here, we see a performance of sorrow. It is cognitive empathy in action. He knows intellectually what a sad person looks like, so he mimics it, but the emotional core is empty. Did you notice the lack of tears? Or the forced dry cry? This is a classic manipulation tactic. Narcissists often struggle to produce genuine tears of remorse because they don't feel remorse, they feel shame. Shame is I look bad. Remorse is I hurt you. He is mourning his reputation, not the damage he caused. The psychological distance he keeps from the actual event is a defensive wall to protect his ego from admitting true fault. We also see signs of Duper's delight. This is a fleeting microexpression, often a suppressed smirk or a slight flash of satisfaction, that occurs when a liar feels they are successfully deceiving their audience. While subtle, there are moments where the mask of the broken man feels too polished, too rehearsed. He is acting. And he believes he is acting well enough to fool the world again. The timing of the apology is also a major red flag. Narcissists do not apologize when they realize they are wrong, they apologize when they realize they are caught. The release of the video footage forced his hand. This is not accountability, this is damage control. If the footage hadn't leaked, the denial would have continued forever. This conditional morality is a defining trait of the malignant narcissist. Consider the victim blaming hidden in the subtext. By framing his actions as a result of hitting rock bottom or substance issues, he is subtly deflecting responsibility. He is externalizing the blame to a dark period in his life, rather than owning the character flaw that allowed the violence to happen. It's a way of saying, it wasn't me, it was the demons. It's a dissociation tactic to preserve the grandiose self. This is the hovering phase on a global scale. He is trying to hover the public back into loving him. He is testing the waters to see if his charisma still works. He is banking on the public's short memory and their tendency to forgive celebrities. It is a cynical bet that his fame is stronger than his morality. Body language experts often point to the self-soothing gestures, rubbing the face, looking down. While these can be signs of stress, in a narcissist, they are often signs of cognitive load. He is working hard to stick to the script. He is suppressing the rage he feels at being exposed. The energy radiating from him is not humility, it is contained fury. The apology lacks specifics. He doesn't name the victim. He doesn't detail the harm. He speaks in vague generalities about behavior. This is intentional. Vague apologies allow the narcissist to avoid legal admission while still claiming moral high ground. It is a legal maneuver disguised as a spiritual confession. Ultimately, this performance failed because we are becoming smarter. The collective awareness of narcissistic behavior is rising. We saw through the acting. We saw a man who is sorry he lost control of the narrative, not a man who is sorry he hurt a woman. The mask didn't just slip, it shattered. To understand how he operated for so long, we must look at the God complex. Malignant narcissists view themselves as special beings, above the laws of man and nature. Diddy didn't just build a record label, he built a cult of personality. In his world, he was the deity, and everyone else, artists, producers, partners, were subjects who existed solely to serve his vision. This dynamic relies on coercive control. It's not just about physical violence, it's about dominating every aspect of a person's life. Reports suggest he controlled finances, careers, and even the personal lives of those around him. This is the golden handcuffs technique. He gives you fame and money, but the price is your soul. You cannot leave because he owns your reality. The love bombing was likely intense. Aspiring artists describe being swept up in his world, private jets, exclusive parties, promises of stardom. This is how the predator creates dependency. He idealizes you, makes you feel like the chosen one, and then, once you are hooked, the devaluation begins. The bad boy image wasn't just a brand, it was a warning label that people mistook for marketing. Narcissists operate with a hive mind mentality. They surround themselves with enablers and flying monkeys, people who depend on them for money or status. These people protect the narcissist, silence the victims, and clean up the messes. Diddy's circle was impenetrable for decades because everyone on the payroll was complicit in the silence. They sold their integrity for proximity to power. We also see the pattern of triangulation. By pitting artists against each other, or partners against each other, the narcissist maintains control. He creates an environment of competition where everyone is fighting for his favor. This keeps the focus on him and prevents the victims from organizing against him. It is a classic divide and conquer strategy. The psychological term for this is omnipotence. He truly believed he could rewrite reality. If he said something didn't happen, it didn't happen. His reality was the only one that mattered. This delusion is infectious. Victims often start to doubt their own memories, gaslighting, because the narcissist's conviction is so absolute. Behind closed doors, the mask of sanity drops. The charming host becomes the terrifying tyrant. The shift can happen in seconds. This unpredictability is a control mechanism. If you never know which version of him you will get, you are always walking on eggshells. You are always hypervigilant, which keeps you psychologically tethered to his moods. He viewed people as objects. In the mind of a malignant narcissist, there is no I and thou, there is only I and it. Women, artists, employees, they are tools to be used. When a tool breaks or stops working, it is discarded. This explains the callousness of his alleged abuse. You don't empathize with a toaster, you don't empathize with an object. The grandiosity we saw in his music videos, the excess, the shouting, the demand for attention, was a projection of his internal emptiness. He needed to be the biggest thing in the room because inside, he felt small. The external noise was designed to drown out the internal silence. But the God complex has a fatal flaw, hubris. They eventually believe their own hype so much that they get sloppy. They think they are invincible. They stop covering their tracks because they believe consequences are for little people. This arrogance is always the precursor to the fall. Now, we are witnessing the narcissistic collapse. This occurs when the gap between the narcissist's reality and the actual reality becomes too wide to bridge. The raids on his homes were not just legal actions, they were symbolic breaches of his fortress. The world entered his sanctuary and exposed his secrets. For a control freak, this is the ultimate psychological violation. The smear campaign has reversed. Usually, the narcissist smears the victim. But now, the truth is smearing him. He is likely experiencing narcissistic rage, a blinding, explosive anger directed at anyone he perceives as betraying him. His inner circle is likely terrified right now. The king is wounded, and a wounded predator attacks everything in sight. We see the rats fleeing the sinking ship. Brands are dropping him. Friends are distancing themselves. The enablers are going silent or cooperating with authorities. This isolation is the narcissist's worst nightmare. He is losing his fuel. Without the adoration, the respect, and the fear of others, he is starving psychologically. He will likely cycle through the victim card. Expect to hear narratives about conspiracy theories, about them trying to bring a strong man down. He will try to weaponize race, culture, or industry politics to frame himself as a martyr. He cannot accept he is a criminal. He must be a martyr. It is the only way his ego can survive the shame. The financial loss is painful, but the reputational loss is lethal. Money can be made again, but the legend of Diddy is dead. He is no longer the cool tastemaker, he is a pariah. This identity death is triggering a massive internal crisis. He is looking in the mirror and seeing a monster, and he will do anything to smash that mirror. Watch for projection. His defense team will likely accuse the accusers of being gold diggers, liars, or fame seekers. Every accusation a narcissist makes is a confession. He is the one who sought gold, power. He is the one who lied. He is the one who chased fame at all costs. He is projecting his own shadow onto his victims. The discard is now happening to him. Society is discarding him. This is poetic justice. The man who discarded so many people is now being flushed out of the culture he helped create. He is powerless to stop it. The control he cherished is gone like smoke. This collapse serves as a warning to all enablers. The narcissist has no loyalty. When the ship goes down, he will throw anyone overboard to keep his head above water. We may see him turning on his former allies to save his own skin. The loyalty was always one way. For the victims, this is a dangerous time. A collapsing narcissist is unpredictable. But it is also a time of validation. The world finally sees what they saw. The gaslighting is over. The crazy ex-girlfriend narrative is dead. The truth has arrived with the force of a tsunami. The empire of illusion has fallen. What remains is a lonely, angry man sitting in the rubble of his own ego. The party is over. The music has stopped. And the silence is deafening. What can we learn from the fall of a titan? It teaches us that no amount of money, power, or charisma can hide the rot of a narcissistic soul forever. The truth has a way of rising. It might take years, it might take decades, but the house of cards always falls. Gravity always wins. If you are watching this and feeling small because your abuser seems powerful, remember Diddy. He seemed like a god. He seemed untouchable. And yet, here we are. Your abuser is not special. They are not magic. They are playing a game that has a guaranteed losing ending. Their power is borrowed, it is not real. Do not envy their success. Do not envy their smiles on social media. It is all a set decoration. Behind the curtain, there is panic, paranoia, and an insatiable hunger that can never be filled. You have something they will never have, peace. You have the ability to sleep at night without fearing the knock at the door, literal or metaphorical. Justice is not always a gavel in a courtroom. Sometimes, justice is the slow, agonizing realization of the narcissist that they are unlovable. It is the public stripping of their mask. It is the legacy of shame they leave behind. Diddy wanted to be remembered as an icon, he will be remembered as a warning. Trust your gut. If you see the signs, the grandiosity, the lack of empathy, the controlling behavior, do not wait for the Netflix documentary to confirm it. Run. The red flags you see in the beginning are the reason you will leave in the end. Save yourself the time. To the survivors who spoke up, you are the giants. You took down a Goliath with nothing but your voice. This proves that the truth is the most powerful weapon in the world. The narcissist relies on your silence. When you speak, their power evaporates. Let this be a reminder, you are not crazy. You saw what you saw. The abuse was real. The manipulation was real. The fact that they could smile while doing it doesn't mean it didn't happen, it means they are sick. You are the healthy one reacting to a sick situation. The P. Diddy archetype is everywhere. In your office, in your family, maybe in your bed. Learn the signs. Study the behavior. Arm yourself with knowledge so that you never fall for the illusion again. We are waking up. Watch the news not with fear, but with the quiet confidence of someone who knows the ending of the movie. The villain loses. The facade breaks. The light enters the cracks. Keep your circle small, your boundaries high, and your eyes open. The era of the narcissist is ending. Your era of healing has just begun. Stay strong, stay safe, and never let them fool you again.